Welcome to episode 4, the real cause of diabetes and why your cells actually reject sugar. Now, if you've been following this series, you know the truth. That almost everything we've been told about type 2 diabetes is wrong. In episode 1, I shared how I had diabetes for 12 years without knowing it until I almost died from a widowmaker heart attack. Not a fun thing. In episode 2, we exposed the biggest lies about diabetes, including why it's not just a blood sugar problem and why the medical system only focuses on managing the symptoms. Then in episode 3, we looked at the standard of care versus functional medicine models, and I showed you why traditional doctors just keep increasing meds without ever addressing the root cause. Now, if you missed any of those, go back and watch them after this one. The full playlist is linked below in the description. But today, we're getting to the real problem. Because if you have diabetes, it's not just that your blood sugar is high, it's that your cells are actually rejecting the sugar. So why does it happen? Well, your body is fighting against sugar instead of using it for energy. And most importantly, how do we fix it? Now, before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next part of the journey, because we're going to get into some really detailed information here. Okay, let's break this down in the simplest way possible. Every time you eat, your body breaks down food into glucose, which is sugar, that your cells are supposed to use for energy. But you see, glucose can't just walk into your cells. It needs a key. And that key is insulin. Insulin is like a doorman at a building. When you eat, your pancreas releases insulin and it unlocks your cells, and it lets sugar in so it can be used for energy. But with type 2 diabetes, something is really, really wrong. Your cells aren't opening the door. It's almost like the lock is frozen shut or rusted shut. Now imagine your cells are like hotel rooms, and insulin is the key card that unlocks that door. At first, everything works fine. Insulin unlocks the door, sugar gets in, and your body runs smoothly. Now, have you ever been in a hotel where you get to your room and you use a key card on the door and it doesn't work? Well, guess what? Most times it's because you had that key card next to your cell phone, and the signal from the cell phone actually stopped the key from working. Well, same here, but over time, something's changing in your body, and your body starts getting bombarded with too much insulin, maybe because of stress, poor diet, toxins, lack of sleep, or even a combination of things. And just like a hotel room key that gets demagnetized by being used too much, your cells stop responding to the insulin. The key just stops working. Now your cells are called something called insulin resistant. They're refusing to open the door and let the sugar in. So what does your body do? It panics. It tells your pancreas, hey, we need more insulin. So your pancreas makes even more, trying to force the doors open. It's almost like brute force trying to open the doors. And for a while, it kind of works. But eventually, even the extra insulin stops working. Sugar builds up in your bloodstream because it has nowhere to go. And that's when your doctor tells you you have diabetes. It's been happening all along, but you're just finding out now. But here's the thing, this didn't happen overnight. Insulin resistance starts years before your blood sugar ever goes up. So now the big question is, what causes insulin resistance? Why do our cells stop responding to insulin? Well, there are a few major culprits, and I bet at least one of these, if not multiple of these, apply to you. First thing is too much insulin too often. Every time you eat, especially when you eat simple carbs, your body releases insulin. And if you're constantly eating all day, insulin never gets a break. So over time, your cells start churning it out, just like you stop hearing background noise after a while. Second thing that could happen is chronic inflammation. Most people are chronically inflamed. Inflammation happens from processed foods, gut issues, or even stress makes your cells stiff and unresponsive. Think of it like trying to open a rusty door. It just doesn't work well. Third, Nutrient deficiencies. Your body needs things like magnesium, vitamin D, and omega-3s to process insulin properly. So if you're low on those, insulin doesn't work as well. Number 4, toxins and chemicals. Did you know that certain plastics, pesticides, and even heavy metals can mess with your metabolism? They can actually block insulin from working properly. And I'll tell you this, I just got my toxicity report back, which we'll do another video on here in the future. I was blown away by what they found in my body. It was horrendous. Number 5, poor sleep and stress. Lack of sleep, sorry about that, and chronic stress raises something called cortisol, which really messes with insulin and blood sugar control. You could be eating perfectly, but if you're always stressed and not sleeping well, your cells are still going to reject the insulin. So what's happening here? You can see it's not just a sugar problem. It's a metabolic disaster. It's the perfect storm. And here's why the standard diabetes treatment fails. When your doctor prescribes metformin or insulin, they're not fixing insulin resistance. They're just trying to force your blood sugar lower. That's it. But if your cells are already rejecting sugar, pushing more insulin into your system is like screaming louder at somebody who's already ignoring you. The key isn't adding more insulin. It's making your cells more sensitive to insulin again so they can open up the locks and let the sugar in. And that's exactly what I'm working on right now. You see, for years, I was stuck in the cycle of just taking meds and hoping my diabetes wouldn't get worse. But now I'm focused on actually reversing insulin resistance, getting my cells to open their doors again. Now, this is not a quick process. You didn't get to where you are with type 2 diabetes quickly. It was years and years of a disaster brewing. So this is going to take me probably 9 months to a year to kind of reverse this thing. I'm going to take you on the journey. Because here's the thing, if you fix insulin resistance, diabetes doesn't have to get worse. You can stop the progression and you can even start to reverse it. And that's exactly what I'm out to do. So now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever heard your doctor explain insulin resistance like this? Or were they just focused on lowering your blood sugar? Drop a comment below. I read every single one and I respond to most. And in the next episode, we're going to take this even further. I actually got my lab results back. And we're going to break down over the next 2 episodes my standard blood tests as well as my toxicity tests. And I'm going to show you everything, exactly what's going on inside my body. Now, this is going to be real proof of what's happening. So make sure you're subscribed, have the bell icon turned on. And if you haven't watched the first 3 episodes, go check out the playlist now. Everything builds on what we've talked about. See you in the next episode. Stay healthy.